You know, I never thought I'd become a fan of Souls-like games. Honestly, I used to look at them and think, why would anyone want to suffer for fun? That kind of masochism made zero sense to me. I liked games that respected my time. Games that didn't kick my teeth in every 5 seconds. But sometimes, all it takes is one friend and one boss fight to rewrite your whole outlook. We were playing Remnant, from the ashes together. I didn't know what I was in for. It looked like just another co-op shooter, right? Something to kill time, laugh at bad aim, maybe farm some gear. And then we hit the first boss. Giant arena. Non-stop ads. A health bar that felt more like a warning than a challenge. Everything in me screamed, nope, we're not doing this. I was ready to quit, uninstall, and pretend the game never existed. But Kryomancer, my co-op partner and self-declared strategist, was calm as ever. He just said, we can beat this. Trust me. I didn't trust him, but I did it anyway. We wiped, over and over. I kept saying, bro, this is ridiculous. And every time, Kryomancer would say something like, we almost had it, even if we clearly didn't. But eventually, I started to notice something weird. I was getting better. I was dodging smarter, shooting with purpose, learning patterns, dying a little slower each time. And then, finally, after what felt like a war story I'd tell my grandkids, we beat it. There was this second of silence between us. Then Kryomancer just said, told you. That moment stuck with me. Not because we won, but because of how we won. Through patience, persistence, learning. That feeling of finally conquering something that once felt impossible, that hit different. And it planted a seed in my head. What if I tried another game like this? And that's when the butterfly effect kicked in. One boss in Remnant became a YouTube search about Souls-like games. That turned into a sale on Dark Souls 3. And before I knew it, I was deep down the rabbit hole with Miyazaki whispering sweet, punishing nothings into my ear. It wasn't about just beating enemies anymore, it was about mastering systems, respecting the challenge, and feeling earned victory. That first boss in Remnant wasn't just a boss. It was the start of something I didn't know I'd love. And it was all Kryomancer's fault. So after that first boss in Remnant, we later beat the entire game. Then something changed in me. I didn't just feel accomplished. I felt curious, like I had peeked behind a curtain into a whole new dimension of gaming. Suddenly, I wasn't dodging just to survive, I was dodging to understand. And thanks to Kryomancer, I couldn't stop thinking about it. That night, after we beat that boss, I remember lying in bed thinking, was that actually fun? Like, real fun? And the next day, I found myself Googling games like Remnant. You know where that led me, right? Straight into the dark, mysterious abyss of Souls-like games. And sitting at the top, Dark Souls 3. Now, I had heard of Dark Souls before. Of course I had. Everyone has. It was the poster child for hard games. The meme. The benchmark. But now, it wasn't just some internet joke, it was my next mission. I picked up Dark Souls 3 on sale and booted it up. The intro? Confusing. The enemies? Already brutal. The controls? Clunky but strangely addicting. But I could still hear Kryomancer in my head saying, we can beat this. Even though this time, it was just me. The more I played, the more I started to get it. The design, the systems, the progression, it all began to make sense. That euphoric moment when I beat my first real boss alone, it hit harder than any multiplayer win I'd ever had. And just like that, I was hooked. From there, the floodgates opened. Lords of the Fallen, Dark Souls 2. Bloodborne, Dark Souls Remastered. Sekiro, the list goes on. I wasn't just playing these games. I was devouring them, studying them, loving them. I became the kind of gamer I used to think was crazy. It was like the butterfly effect in real time. One boss, fight in Remnant with Kryomancer, turned me into a full-blown Souls-like addict. And you know what? I don't regret a second of it. I started seeing every death not as a failure, but as feedback. Every boss wasn't a wall, it was a puzzle. And every victory felt earned, not handed to me on a silver platter. That's the beauty of this genre. It teaches you patience, persistence, and that satisfaction only comes after real effort. Now, I look forward to getting wrecked by a boss. I lean into the struggle. I enjoy the grind, because I know what's waiting on the other side. Triumph, pride, and a moment that feels truly mine. So shout out to Kryomancer. You didn't just get me through a boss. You opened a portal to a whole new world of gaming. A world I never want to leave. And yeah, that first boss still sucks. But I wouldn't change a thing.